Have you ever noticed there's a moment right after the breakup, right after the silence, when a man suddenly realizes something he never thought he would? I lost her, the one woman who actually cared, the one who loved me in ways no one else ever did. And trust me, when that moment hits him, it doesn't whisper. It hits him like a punch in the chest. It hits him when he wakes up and reaches for his phone only to realize the good morning texts are gone. It hits him when he walks into his empty apartment and the silence feels heavier than any argument you two ever had. It hits him when he remembers how you used to look at him, not with judgment, not with pressure, but with love, pure, steady love. Today, I want to take you inside that moment, inside the behaviors, the mistakes, the panic, the regret of a man who realizes he didn't just lose a woman, he lost a good woman. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't about him. It's about you and the power you forget you have. When a man loses a good one, the first thing he does is pretend he's perfectly fine. And he does it with confidence, almost with a performance. He acts like he's moved on, like nothing in his world has shifted. He laughs louder around his friends. He posts more on social media. He keeps himself constantly busy. It's almost like he's trying to outrun the truth. Because in the beginning, for a man, admitting that he's hurting feels like admitting failure. And men are trained their whole lives not to fail, not to be emotional, not to show that something has broken them. So he convinces everyone around him that he's doing great, while secretly hoping he can convince himself too. But what he doesn't understand in those early days is that distractions don't heal anything. They only delay the moment he has to face himself. And that moment always comes. At first, he feels free, no responsibilities, no expectations, no emotional weight. He goes out with his friends. He tries to act like he's living his best life. Sometimes he even talks a little too confidently about how it just wasn't working or how he's better off now. But underneath that performance is a man who has no idea what he just lost. Not yet. Then comes the shift. It happens quietly. He wakes up one morning, reaches for his phone out of habit, ready to see a message from you, and it's not there. He doesn't think much of it, but something inside him feels slightly off. Later, he goes about his day, and something small reminds him of you, your favorite coffee order, your laugh, the way you used to say his name. He brushes it off again. But these small reminders keep coming, and every time, a tiny discomfort grows inside him, like a whisper he's trying hard not to hear, and then the nights hit him. Nights are where men lose their battles. Because at night, he can't perform. He can't distract himself with noise or people or busyness. He's alone with the silence you used to fill. He looks over at the empty side of the bed, and suddenly it feels like a void. He grabs his phone and scrolls, maybe through old chats, maybe through memories he never appreciated enough. And that bravado, that I'm fine mask he wore so confidently, begins to crumble. This is the moment when it starts to hit him. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a slow, sinking realization she's really gone. The truth is, a good woman is not easy to forget. She's not replaceable. And once the noise of his fake confidence fades, he starts to feel her absence like a weight on his chest. He realizes that the peace he thought he'd get from being free isn't peace at all, it's emptiness. And that emptiness grows deeper every day. This is when he understands the truth he was running from. He lost someone who actually loved him, someone who showed up for him, someone who was good to him, and he wasn't ready for the silence she left behind. When a man loses a good woman, the memories that haunt him first aren't the big dramatic moments. They're the small, intimate, almost invisible ones he never noticed enough while he still had them. It begins unexpectedly, often at the most random time. He'll be walking through a store and see something you used to love, and suddenly his chest tightens. Or he'll hear a song that once played in the background while you two were laughing in the car, and for a few seconds, the world around him fades because he's back in that moment, remembering how your smile looked in the sunlight. These little memories don't ask for permission. They just show up, uninvited, unfiltered, and impossibly vivid. And they hit harder than any argument, any breakup conversation, any goodbye ever could. Because the little things are where your love lived. He starts remembering how you used to fix his collar before he left for work, the way your hand would gently rest on his arm when you were reassuring him, or the way you always knew when he wasn't okay even when he said he was fine. He starts remembering how you listened, not just with your ears, but with your whole heart. How you laughed even at his worst jokes. how you brought peace into rooms he used to fill with tension. These memories start to feel like a movie he didn't realize he had been starring in until the credits had already rolled. And the more these moments replay in his mind, the more he starts to understand just how good he had it. At first, he tries to shake it off, telling himself that it's normal to remember the past. But then the memories become too specific, too detailed, too emotional to ignore. He remembers the way you used to look at him when he talked about his dream, how your eyes lit up with pride like his success was your success too. He remembers the softness of your voice when you were tired, the way you tucked your hair behind your ear when you were nervous, or the way you instinctively reached for his hand in crowded places. These tiny moments that seemed so ordinary at the time now feel priceless. And he realizes he didn't appreciate them enough. He begins to understand that a good woman doesn't love loudly, she loves consistently. Her love is in the way she makes your favorite meal without you asking, the way she texts you drive safe, the way she remembers how you take your coffee, the way she sits beside you even when you say you want space. And when all of this is gone, he starts to feel the absence not as silence but as a deep ache, because the little things you did were the foundation of the peace he felt with you. And once he realizes that no one else brings that same warmth, that same softness, that same emotional safety, the regret becomes real. He finally sees that the little things you did weren't little at all, they were everything. When a man loses a good woman, one of the first things he does, usually long before he's willing, to admit he misses her is quietly, secretly, and almost instinctively start checking up on her. And he does it in ways you'll never see. He won't like your posts, he won't comment, he won't send a message. No, that would expose too much too soon. Instead, he lurks in silence, scrolling through your profile at 2 a.m., checking your stories from a burner account he swears isn't his, trying to piece together the life you're living without him. It's a strange kind of torture he inflicts on himself, wanting to know everything about you while pretending he doesn't care at all. He looks for clues. Are you happy? Are you hurting? Are you moving on? Has someone else started giving you the attention he took for granted? He zooms into your pictures to study your eyes because he used to read your emotions like a language. Now he's looking for traces of pain or freedom, or maybe even his biggest fear, indifference. He checks who liked your photos, who commented, what friends you're hanging out with, which places you're going. And every new piece of information becomes a puzzle he's trying to solve. Is she really over me? What he doesn't realize is that this quiet checking, this digital stalking, is the first sign of regret. Because men don't watch what they don't care about. He may act like he's moved on, but he can't stop himself from being drawn back to your world, even if he has to sneak through the cracks to see it. He may block you one day out of anger or ego, but he'll find a way to peek the next day out of curiosity or longing. He may tell his friends he's done, but at night, he's reading the caption you write, trying to decode them like messages meant for him. He doesn't reach out because reaching out means risking rejection, and nothing terrifies a man who lost a good woman more than the possibility that she no longer wants him. So he hides behind the safe distance of a screen, convincing himself he's just checking, when in reality he's reliving. He sees you glowing, leveling up, becoming stronger, and instead of feeling relief, he feels a slow burn of regret in his chest. Because the more he observes you from afar, the more he realizes how beautiful your life is without his chaos, and how rare your energy truly was when you were with him. And every time he sees you smiling, dressing better, laughing genuinely, or simply living your life with confidence, something inside him sinks. It hits him that you're becoming the version of yourself he never thought you'd become without him. And that realization pulls him back to your page again and again, like a man hunting for a window into a home he no longer has the key to. He checks on you quietly because deep down, he knows the truth, he lost something precious. And now he watches from the shadows, hoping one day you'll look back, even though he knows you probably never will. When a man loses a good woman, one of the most painful and unexpected things he goes through is the quiet comparison phase, something he never admits out loud but feels deeply every time he interacts with another woman. It starts subtly, almost accidentally. He meets someone new, maybe on a date, maybe at work, maybe through friends. And at first he tries to be open. He tries to convince himself he's ready, that he's moved on, that he can just replace what he lost. But the moment the conversation begins, he starts noticing the difference. This woman may be beautiful, charming, interesting, yet something feels off, something feels missing. And suddenly, without meaning to, He's thinking about you, not because he wants to, but because the connection he had with you left a standard he didn't even realize existed until it was gone. He listens to her laugh, and it doesn't hit his heart the way yours did. He sees her smile, and it doesn't spark that warmth he used to feel when you looked at him with that mixture of love and mischief. He pays attention to the way she talks, and he notices she doesn't understand his humor the way you did, or she does. Ask the same thoughtful questions, or she doesn't make him feel as safe, accepted, or seen as you once did. Instead of being present, he finds himself mentally comparing every detail, every reaction, every emotional beat to the moments he shared with you. And the more he tries to deny it, the stronger those comparisons get. He notices that other women don't support him with the same sincerity, don't challenge him with the same softness, don't encourage him with the same belief you had in him. He starts remembering how you listened when he talked about his dreams, not with boredom, not with insecurity, but with genuine excitement. And when he meets someone new who doesn't bring that same energy, he suddenly realizes how rare your love truly was. He compares attitudes, he compares chemistry, he compares emotional depth. He compares how easy it was to talk to you versus the awkward effort he feels with someone else. He compares how safe he felt with you versus how guarded he feels now. And as he keeps meeting new people, he slowly learns something that breaks him a little more each time. It wasn't just that he lost a woman, he lost you. The way you cared, the intimacy you offered, the softness you carried, the strength you embodied, he can't find that again, not because other women aren't wonderful, but because the connection he had with you wasn't ordinary. It was uniquely shaped by your energy, your personality, your heart. And every time he sees that no one else brings what you brought so effortlessly, a deeper regret settles in. He realizes the love he had wasn't interchangeable, replaceable, or something he could just recreate whenever he wanted. It was specific, it was rare, it was you. And the more he searches for pieces of you in other women, the more he understands that losing a good woman isn't. Losing one person, it's losing a whole world he didn't appreciate until he was standing outside of it, looking in. When a man loses a good woman, there comes a moment after the denial, after the silence, after the comparisons and the late night regrets when something inside him finally breaks through his pride and reaches the truth he's been avoiding. He didn't just lose you, he lost someone who genuinely loved him, cared for him, rooted for him, and made his life infinitely better. And that's when he starts to come back. Not because he suddenly became the perfect man, not because he magically transformed overnight, and definitely not because he suddenly deserves you, but because he finally understands you. He finally understands what your presence meant. He finally understands the love you gave so generously. He finally understands the emotional safety you created for him without him even asking. It's usually a slow realization, the kind that creeps in during long drives, empty nights, or moments when something reminds him too much of you for him to ignore. He replays conversations he dismissed before, moments when you tried to express your needs, or times you showed up for him even when he didn't reciprocate. And now, without your love to fall back on, those moments hit him with a rawness he never expected. This is when he starts drafting that message, the "Hey, I've been thinking about you" message, the "I miss you" message, the "Can we talk" message. He types, deletes, rewrites, doubts himself, and tries again. He wants to sound strong, but he's scared. He wants to reach out, but is embarrassed. Because coming back means confronting the truth he avoided. He took you for granted. He comes back with hesitation because a part of him fears you've moved on. Another part hopes you haven't. Another part knows he doesn't even deserve a reply. But the largest part, the part that pulls him toward you despite his pride, is the one that finally understands how deeply you loved him. He remembers how patient you were with his flaws. He remembers how you encouraged him when he doubted himself. He remembers the way your presence calmed him, the way your voice softened his tension, the way your love made him feel like he was capable of becoming the best version of himself. No one else gives him that feeling. No one else looks at him the way you did. No one else loves him with that kind of sincerity and depth. And now he realizes that, so he comes back. Not because he deserves another chance, but because losing you taught him something. His ego never allowed him to see. A good woman is not replaceable, not repeatable, not forgettable. He returns because he finally understands what he had, what he destroyed, and what he wishes he could repair. But the truth he must face is that understanding you now doesn't entitle him to your heart again. Sometimes a man comes back only to learn that the woman he finally figured out has already outgrown the version of him that let her go. When a man loses a good woman, there comes a point, usually after the denial fades and the reality sets in, when he begins to see himself with a clarity he never had before. And it's in that clarity that he realizes just how much of the loss was because of his own actions, his own inconsistencies, his own emotional immaturity. And instead of blaming you, instead of pretending it was mutual, instead of hiding behind excuses like he used to, he starts looking inward, not loudly, not publicly, not in some dramatic "I'm changing my life" announcement. He works on himself quietly, behind the scenes, because the truth is, the loss embarrassed him. It humbled him. It stripped away the ego that once convinced him he didn't need to improve. So he starts making small private changes. He may go back to the gym, not to impress anyone, but because he remembers how much you used to encourage him to take care of himself. He may start working harder on his career or his discipline, because now your absence reminds him of all the times you pushed him to aim higher, to stop wasting his potential. He may read books you once recommended, listen to advice he once ignored, or try to develop emotional habits better. Communication, more patience, more accountability that he knows would have strengthened your relationship. These changes aren't for show. That's why you don't hear about them, why he doesn't post about them, why he doesn't reach out to brag about them. He's not doing them to win you back. He doesn't even know if he has the right to try. He's doing them because losing you forced him to face the parts of himself he kept burying. You became a mirror he can't unsee. And now that mirror reveals the flaws he once denied, the patterns he once defended, the behavior he once thought was normal. In your absence, he feels an uncomfortable truth. He wasn't the man you needed, and he wasn't the man he wanted to be either. So he begins the slow, quiet journey of fixing himself, not because he expects another chance, but because losing a good woman taught him a lesson life never taught him before. It showed him the cost of staying the same. It showed him that love doesn't leave without reason. And even though he may never admit it out loud, every step he takes toward becoming better is a silent acknowledgement that you were the turning point he didn't appreciate until it was too late. When a man loses a good woman, the hardest part isn't just losing love, it's losing the peace that came with it, the calm presence that made the chaos of life feel manageable. At first, he may think he's free, that he's escaped responsibilities or emotional entanglements, and he may even convince himself that the absence of your voice, your laugh, your steady presence doesn't matter. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, he begins to notice the void you left behind. The world suddenly feels louder. Decisions feel heavier. The same situations that once felt manageable now seem overwhelming, and stress hit him harder because he no longer has that soft, grounding presence to balance him. He realizes that the arguments you had weren't just conflicts, they were part of the dance that kept the relationship alive, that created understanding and stability. He notices the nights when he comes home and the apartment feels colder, emptier, as if it's echoing the part of his life he lost. He starts remembering the way you used to soothe him when he was frustrated, how your calm voice could diffuse tension he couldn't handle, how your laughter could make ordinary moments feel magical. And suddenly, he sees that he didn't just have a girlfriend or a partner, he had a constant source of emotional balance, a sanctuary from the storm of his own thoughts and the pressures of life. He may try to recreate it elsewhere, trying to find someone new who can fill that space, but he discovers that peace is unique. It isn't something you can borrow or replace. And every time he realizes this, the regret sinks deeper. The truth hits him. The woman he let go wasn't just someone who loved him, she was someone who made him feel safe, grounded, and understood in ways he didn't even realize he needed until she was gone. He begins to understand that your presence was a rare kind of peace, one that softened him, steadied him, and made him feel like he could handle life's challenges. And now, without you, he experiences how much he underestimated that stability, how much he took it for granted, and how truly irreplaceable it was. By the time this hits him, it's too late, because peace isn't something you can demand back. It's something earned, nurtured, and recognized while it's still there. And he finally realizes that losing you means losing the very foundation that once made his world feel whole. So if you're watching this right now, and you're thinking about a man who lost you, just know he will feel it. Not because you punish him, not because you try to make him regret, but because a good woman leaves an impact that no silence, no distance, no time can erase. And when that realization hits him, he won't forget it, ever. But you're moving forward, you're healing, you're rising. And the right man, the man who recognizes the good woman in front of him before he loses her, that's the one who deserves your heart.